Test, test, test. Oh, hell yeah. Oh, the FPV park. One of the most ambitious and stressful things I've ever done in my life. If you're watching this video, that means the park didn't work out. A grand idea for an FPV paradise in the woods, foiled by politics, land disputes, and a lack of free manual labor. This is the story of the FPV park. Ever since I started flying FPV, I've wanted to build a skate park, but for drones, I had visions of giant dive gaps with faux building facades, modern art as flyable infrastructure everywhere, camping areas, and free admission for everyone. I talked about it for years, being like, man, if I ever get them big bucks, the first thing I'm going to do is buying property and building an FPV park for everybody. That didn't happen, and people started eventually telling me I should do a GoFundMe for it because they would donate, which I was pretty apprehensive about because number one, I didn't think we'd make enough money, and number two, it's a lot of fucking pressure with other people's money. I just kept talking about it for a couple years until one day I said, okay, fine, let's do it. I'll start the GoFundMe, and if we make like $70,000, we can buy land and build our dream park. I ran daily live streams. I talked about it in every video that I made back when I was doing weekly videos. I super spammed the fundraiser. I put it everywhere I could to make this a reality. This was like the biggest marketing campaign I've done in my life. But after about a month, we'd only raised around $18,000, and GoFundMe sent me an email that forced a choice. I either had to enter my bank account information and start transferring the donations that I already had into my bank, or end the GoFundMe. I asked everyone I could that was donating and supporting the project what they think we should do. End it now, or just try to get what we can with whatever we can and try to make it, even if it's only $20,000. The overwhelming consensus was just keep the fundraiser open and let's see how much we can make. So we did, and we ended up making $38,000, which blew my mind. A bit under half of what I figured it would cost to really get, a prime piece of land for this, but with $38,000, we could definitely find something to work on. So I spent the next couple months, trying to find the perfect plot in our price range, which was rough. Like, there really wasn't that much. But then I saw what we eventually ended up getting. 10 acres of land with a creek in a valley, just beautiful, beautiful land. The homie Matty Blunts did all the legwork initially, checking out the land in person since he was closer than me. I'm about 4 hours away from it, which isn't terrible, but I didn't want to do like all this driving for potential plots to be duds, He was like, yeah, man, this could be it. You should come check it out. The price is right, the land is totally doable, and the realtor is easy to work with. Shout out Andrew. I appreciate you so much, man. So everything about this property is pretty sick, except, and here's the first problem, we needed an easement to get onto the property. The way it's set up, right, here's this guy's house and his little front area. He has a little couple acres, and here is a park property, the 10 acres. To get to it, we would need to drive on the very edge of this guy's property, and the guy that owned the house didn't give a shit. He didn't live there. He had a renter. So we talked to him. We paid him to give us an easement onto our land, and like I said, the easement is set back on the very edge of this property, and in fact, it was the old state road back in the day, so it just made perfect sense to me. We would just reopen the road and use it to get back to the park. It wouldn't be in anybody's way at all. So we paid him and made it all legal with paperwork, and written in was the clause that we got to build and maintain a road that we owned so we could just go right back into our property. And that was fine. We went out there the first couple times to camp and work on the park with no issues at all. I even got stuck one time because it rained a bunch, so I was like, okay, we really need to get this road put in now. And this will lead us to the second reason the park failed. Well, not so much failed, but progressed very slowly. The lack of free labor. A big shout out to Matty Blunts, Chubby FPV, Chubby's wife, and Drone Rob for all the work they put into this thing, man. Matty was there every single time I was there with his chainsaw putting fucking work into this park. This was raw land that needed to be cleared before we could even walk around and start any type of park at all. And we had one chainsaw between us, so it was, as you can imagine, a lot of work. Chubby FPV and his wife also came out many times doing the same bullshit work, cutting trees and hauling logs. Shit nobody wants to do, but had to be done. Also, Drone Rob with your log clear and clamp thing, that made that shit so much easier, so thank you so much, bro. But that's it. Those 4 people are the only ones that came out in 2 years to help work on the park. Now, I did not expect anyone to come out and do anything for free. This is my project. I was perfectly fine, doing it all myself. But I did have a ton of people offer to come out and help that just never came out or never followed up about it. There were a few of you I know that reached out and I wasn't able to connect with you on the right days or whatever. I'm not talking about you. I'm talking about just in general, the amount of hands I thought I would have on this project was way more than ended up, actually helping out. Far less people pitched in than I had anticipated. But that also was, the issue with the road eventually, which we'll get to. So that's whatever. Like I said, I was fine doing it myself and just a couple people. But, after a bit, I started getting a little bit of shit for not progressing fast enough with it. And I'm like, man, we're out here every month, just me and Maddie doing pretty brutal fucking work clearing land, and I got a fucked up back, so I gotta go slow, But I don't want to make excuses or anything. I just want to give everybody kind of like the full picture of why this didn't work out in the end. And this was a small part of it. Real issue came when the guy that sold us the right of way that owned the property in the front, he sold his house. The easement transferred for sure, but the guy that bought the house was the tenant the owner was renting to, and it turns out he'd been living there for 20 years, like he raised his kids there. When I bought the property and I met the tenant, he had told me, he hunts in the winter on the back property that we just bought. And I was like, yeah, that's fine, dude. You got your little tree stand set up. We're only going to be there like 4 months out of the year. We're not going to be here in the winter. It's cold as shit up in the mountains anyway, right? So I gave him full hunting rights. I'm trying to be a good neighbor. I thought that was a friendly thing to do, Plus, we're about to build that gravel road on the far edge of now his property, and I figured that's a pretty fair trade. You let us drive, 500 feet over a little road that we build and maintain 4 months out of the year, and you can hunt the property, hang out on it, do whatever the fuck you want the rest of the year. We'll just share the land. Nobody fucking owns anything on Earth in the long run, It's just your turn to use it until you die. Like, I literally told homie, I'm not trying to take over your hunting spot. There's 10 acres. We can share this land, no problem. So everything seemed pretty cool, We continued driving over our little back edge of the land and our easement we paid for and kept working on the park. We talked to a guy in the front house now and then, and we assured him we were not Democrats or terrorists coming to take away his shotguns or whatever the fuck he was worried about. He even gave me some pickled peppers that he made that were fucking delicious. I went back and got a second jar. They were very good. But then one night, the homie in the front house, that just bought it, he came back to where we were. We're having a little bonfire night. He came back drinking some beers and he said some racist shit. And I was like, nah, man, not around me. I don't play that fucking game, and I have black friends that are gonna come out here and hang out, and I don't want any fucking issues with that shit. Well, he backpedaled, as these people tend to do when you call them out and you don't just go along with their bullshit. He said something about his brother-in-law is black, and that's just hillbilly talk, man. Just some bullshit justification for being a tool bag. So the next time we went out there, the vibe had definitely changed. Now it was an issue that we wanted to use the easement that we had paid for because he didn't want us tearing up his grass. Not your grass anymore, motherfucker. It's our road. I showed him the paperwork for the easement, and I asked if he had been told about it when he bought the house, and he said, yeah, he did, but he didn't want us building the road that we paid to build that was included in the property when he bought it. Not wanting to deal with this bullshit, I tried to purchase another easement from another adjoining landowner. That didn't work out. We even offered to pay him to let us use the easement that we already paid the other guy for and to build a road that we were legally entitled to build, but nope. He was not having it. So this is when the real fucking headache began. I did not want to make enemies with this dickhead when I have to drive by him every time I go out there or anybody else goes to the property, I need to bring in gravel trucks and skid loaders to lay down this gravel road that he's adamant I don't build. I'm gonna have a bunch of cars back there with homies camping and flying drones around, And I'm some jerk in Philly, 4 hours away from the property, and he lives like right there, He's lived there for 20 years. And without that road, people are pretty much is driving on his grass. We don't really have our territory claimed down with the gravel road, and I can't have that. And I was like, man, what if he and his buddies start like fucking with the land or whatever in the months we're not out there, or starting shit with people out there, or like shooting down our fucking gaps or whatever? Do I ban him? Do I ban him from hunting there? Do I take down his tree stands and scrap him? Like, I thought it was being pretty fucking cool giving the dude full hunting rights in exchange for just, following the law, having respect for our property that we bought, being a decent fucking human being. So it got worse and worse, and eventually he parked a fucking mobile home right on the spot that's supposed to be our road in an obvious escalation of the passive-aggressive hillbilly game that he was playing. And like I said, I've danced this dance before with folks in small towns or out in the country, and it usually ends with the local police doing some illegal bullshit that is not in my favor. And if I'm really being honest, as beautiful and promising as the land was, having to deal with that dude every time we went out there was just a fucking headache that that I did not want to deal with. And you know, I had some personal shit come up, so I went out to work on the property less and less until finally I said, fuck it. This just isn't going to work out. I decided to just sell the land and refund everybody. And that brings us to today. I sold the property like literally yesterday. I got the papers to sign. So I figure by the time this video comes out, everything will have gone through and I'll have the money for the refunds. I sold it exactly for how much I paid for it. It included the easement, and I told the realtor to please tell potential buyers that homie's being difficult about the road, so there wouldn't be any surprises to them when they bought it, you know? Like, I really wanted to sell this, but I couldn't in good faith sell it and just pawn that problem off on somebody else. I wanted them to be aware that this guy's going to be an issue about their access to their property. So, someone that was willing to tell a dude to go fuck himself got a pretty sweet deal on a nice plot of land. They told me they planned to build a house on it, you know, so while I really did want to turn this particular piece of land into an FPV park for everybody, I think it's cool that someone's going to be able to use it to build a home for themselves on it in the end. Like, that's a nice, happy little ending for me. It's really, really pretty out there. Like, it was beautiful, man. And I'm going to miss sitting by that creek, smoking bowls. Like, I live in a pretty crazy city, and that was an amazing escape for me to just go out there and be able to camp out a few days at a time and work on the land and just breathe that fresh air. Like, I'm going to miss that for sure. That's really what it came down to. I know some of you all are saying, like, that's bullshit. You should have just told this dude to go fuck himself and built your road and everything. Yeah, that's for sure. That's one way to do it. But, man, dealing with that every single time we wanted to use a property, it sounded like way too much. I've dealt, like I said, with rural neighbors before, and it get fucking dicey. I'm not from that area, you know. I was really worried we'd put a ton of work into the property and somebody would just fuck with it and tear stuff down or accidentally, you know, shoot some of our stuff down. I didn't want to take that risk for everybody. And even though fuck that dude for being racist and a dickhead, but if you don't take, you know, my side on this and you zoom out kind of big picture, homie's been there for 20 years. He didn't want that road being built next to his house, even though it's on the far edge, you know, but with a bunch of cars driving by it and drones in the woods, even though we'd be at least 5 acres away from him, I can kind of see where he's coming from. I personally wouldn't have been a dick about it, but some people are just like that. And I'm not really the type of guy to be like, well, I paid for this imaginary boundary, so now I'm going to come in here, I'm going to change all your shit around so I can use it 4 months out of the year because capital trumps morals and respect. Like, even if he's a casually racist dickhead who probably doesn't deserve any respect, like, I don't know, I'm not that guy, you know. Let somebody else that's local to the county deal with the land dispute, you know. I'm not trying to fucking play that game. So, for those of you that donated for the FPV Park project number 1, thank you so much for believing in it. I truly am sorry that this didn't work out. I had big plans for a super fun spot for all of us, but in the end, you know, it wasn't the right time or place for this. So let's talk about the refunds. Obviously, I'm not going to keep any of this money since the park didn't work out. I'm not a dickhead. And despite what a couple of mommy's special little boys like to echo to each other, this wasn't a scam for me to take $30,000 from the community and run away with it, you know. But GoFundMe doesn't have a button I can just press to refund everybody, so I'm gonna have to do each and every one of these manually. What I need you to do if you donated is check your GoFundMe. I'll be messaging everybody with refund instructions, but just in case folks don't get the message or they can't log in or whatever, if you donated to this project and you want a refund, you need to send me an email to bot@botgrinder.com using the email address that you used for the donation. I will be cross-checking. I'll be double-checking the email that you email me from requesting money is the same email that donated to the GoFundMe to prevent fraud. The GoFundMe page will tell me how much you donated, and we can arrange the refund to the method of your choice after that. So actually, I don't have Venmo. It's a choice between Cash App and PayPal, and maybe I can figure out Zelle. Maybe I could just mail you cash, very well secured. We'll figure it out. However you want your money back, you let me know and we'll do it. Also, I went ahead and I told people that donated about this already. I'm just making this video so everybody knows what's going on. But a lot of people have told me they don't want refunds. And I'm going to say you're dumb. You should take your money back because I failed, but I appreciate that. So I decided 100% of any unclaimed refunds, I'm just going to go ahead and put towards, I have 22 rotten teeth that need to come out. All my teeth need to come out. I'm going to put that money towards getting my teeth taken out and getting my full dentures because I was quoted at $7,000. Definitely don't have that much money in one shot to get my teeth taken out and get my dentures and all that taken care of. So whatever's left over from this GoFundMe, if you decide not to get a refund, that will be going towards me getting my dentures. And for that, I'll be forever fucking grateful to all of you. So there, that's the story of why the FPV park didn't work out. Basically a combination of one hillbilly being scared of change and my lack of wanting to deal with this bullshit. Thank you so much to everybody that believed in the project and donated. I truly am sorry, like I said, that it didn't work out. This was supposed to be something super cool. I do hope one day somebody with more resources and money can take inspiration from this though and build an actual free FPV park for the community. I think it's a fantastic idea, especially with drones being basically close to being outlawed in public. We're gonna need these safe spaces to enjoy our hobby. Okay, that's my video. You can subscribe if you want to. I'm trying to get back on a more frequent upload schedule for this channel, but at the same time, I also started a second channel. It's a gaming channel. I'm doing. Everybody's like, you should just do a gaming channel because you play video games. So I started a gaming channel. But if you want to check it out, I'll link it below. It's just Arc Grinder on YouTube and Twitch. So go subscribe to that one. I'm also going to be live streaming on there. Right now, I'm just doing Wednesdays, but I'm going to try to do it more often if people enjoy it. Okay, subscribe to my gaming channel and hit me up if you want a refund. I promise next time will be better. I love you. Okay, bye.